What if the reason you're suffering has nothing to do with what you've lost, but everything to do with what you're refusing to let go? Think about it. How many nights have you spent replaying the same conversation, holding on to the same disappointment, the same resentment, the same person who has already moved on, the same dream that no longer belongs to who you are today? Most people believe that holding on is a sign of strength. The Stoics believed the opposite. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is open your hand and let life take what no longer serves you, because every time you cling to what is already gone, you close yourself off from everything that is trying to enter your life. Hello everyone, welcome to the Stoic Hypnosis channel. In this video, you'll discover why letting go is not giving up. It is making space for something greater. Through timeless Stoic wisdom, you'll learn how releasing attachment, resentment, fear, and the need for control can unlock a life filled with greater peace, deeper purpose, and unexpected abundance. Stay until the very end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you see loss, freedom, and everything you thought you had to hold on to. Now, let's get started. Part 1. The more you cling, the more you suffer. One of the greatest paradoxes of life is this: the harder you try to hold on to something, the more power it gains over you. Most people spend years believing that happiness comes from possessing more. More success, more money, more recognition, more certainty, more control. But the Stoics saw a different truth. Suffering rarely begins because we have too little. It begins because we become attached to things that were never meant to stay forever. Think about the moments that hurt you the most. Was it the event itself? Or was it your refusal to accept that life had already changed? Perhaps it was a relationship you tried desperately to save long after love had disappeared. Perhaps it was a version of yourself that no longer existed. Or perhaps it was an expectation that reality simply refused to fulfill. The pain did not grow because life was cruel. It grew because your hands remained tightly closed around something that had already slipped away. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that everything in life is temporary, not to make life feel meaningless, but to make every moment more precious. The moment you believe something must remain exactly as it is, fear quietly enters your heart. You begin fearing loss. You begin fearing change. You begin fearing time itself. And fear has a way of turning even beautiful things into heavy burdens. The truth is, nothing in this world truly belongs to us forever. Not our youth, not our possessions, not even the people we love. We are only temporary caretakers of the gifts life places in our hands. The wiser you become, the more gently you hold them. Because you understand that appreciation grows stronger when attachment grows weaker. Real freedom is not found in owning everything. It is found in needing less. When you stop trying to imprison life inside your expectations, something remarkable happens. You begin to experience each day as it is, instead of mourning the way you wish it had been. And that is where peace quietly begins. Not in holding on, but in finally learning how to let go. Part 2. The heaviest weight is the one you cannot see. There is a kind of weight that no one else can see. It cannot be measured. It leaves no scars on your body, yet it can exhaust your soul for years. It is the weight of unfinished emotions, the resentment you never released, the apology you never received, the betrayal you continue reliving long after it happened, the guilt that follows you into every new beginning. Most people think time heals all wounds, But time heals very little when the mind keeps reopening the same wound every single day. Have you ever noticed how one painful memory can quietly steal the joy from an otherwise beautiful moment? You may be sitting with people who genuinely love you, yet your thoughts are still trapped in a conversation that ended years ago. You may finally have the opportunity you've always wanted, yet your heart remains chained to a failure you cannot forgive. This is how attachment silently steals the present, not by changing your circumstances, but by imprisoning your attention. The Stoics understood that every moment spent arguing with the past is a moment stolen from the future. The past cannot hear your anger. It cannot respond to your regrets. It cannot become different simply because you continue carrying it. And yet, countless people spend decades fighting battles that ended long ago. Imagine walking through life with a backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents an old disappointment, an old heartbreak, an old mistake. At first, you hardly notice the weight. Then, the years pass. Your steps become slower. Your spirit grows heavier. Not because life became harder, but because you never stopped carrying what was never meant to accompany you forever. Letting go does not mean pretending the pain never existed. It means refusing to let yesterday continue deciding how you will live today. Forgiveness is not always about the other person. Sometimes it is the decision to stop giving them free space inside your mind. The day you release what has already passed, you create room for something that has been patiently waiting all along. Peace. And often, peace is the greatest gift life can ever give. Before we continue, I want you to pause for just a moment. Ask yourself one honest question. What are you still holding on to that has already let go of you? A person? A memory? A regret? Or perhaps a version of yourself that no longer exists? Sometimes, the greatest act of courage is not fighting harder. It is finding the strength to release what is quietly stealing your peace. If these timeless Stoic lessons are helping you see life from a different perspective, subscribe to the channel and join a community of people who are learning to let go of what weighs them down and make room for a calmer mind, a stronger spirit, and a more meaningful life. Now let's continue, because the next lesson may change the way you think about control and why trying to control everything is often the very thing that keeps us from receiving life's greatest gifts. Part 3. The more you try to control life, the more it controls you. One of the quietest forms of suffering is the need to control everything. We want people to understand us. We want plans to unfold exactly as we imagined. We want love to last forever. We want success to arrive on our schedule. And when life refuses to obey, we call it unfair. But perhaps life is not resisting you. Perhaps it is trying to teach you something. The Stoics believe that much of human suffering comes from confusing two very different things: what belongs to us and what never did. You can control your actions. You can control your attitude. You can control the choices you make today. But you cannot control another person's heart. You cannot control time. You cannot control whether life brings storms or sunshine. The tragedy is that many people spend their lives trying to command the wind, while completely neglecting the sails in their own hands. Imagine standing in the ocean, trying to stop the waves with your bare arms. No matter how determined you are, the sea will continue moving. Sooner or later, exhaustion replaces hope. Yet this is exactly how many people live. They argue with reality. They resist change. They cling to certainty in a world that has promised none. And then they wonder why peace feels so far away. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that events themselves are neither good nor bad. What gives them power is the meaning we choose to assign to them. That simple realization changes everything. When you stop demanding that life follow your script, you become free to respond wisely to whatever chapter comes next. Acceptance is often misunderstood as weakness. It is not. Acceptance is the courage to stop wasting your strength on the impossible, so you can invest it in what truly matters. The strongest tree is not the one that refuses to bend. It is the one that bends with the storm and still remains rooted. The same is true for us. The moment you stop trying to control everything around you, you begin mastering the only thing that has always deserved your attention, your own mind. And from that quiet mastery, a deeper kind of freedom begins to grow. Part 4. When you stop chasing, life begins coming to you. One of life's greatest ironies is this: the things we chase the hardest often move farther away. The more desperately you seek approval, the more invisible you feel, the more tightly you hold on to love, the more frightened you become of losing it, the more obsessed you are with success, the less you appreciate the journey that leads to it. The Stoics understood a timeless truth. Desperation clouds judgment. Attachment breeds fear, and fear quietly drives away the very peace we are searching for. Have you ever noticed how some of the happiest people are not the ones who have the most? They are the ones who need the least. They smile more easily. They forgive more quickly. They sleep more peacefully. Not because life has been kinder to them, but because they have stopped demanding that life unfold exactly as they planned. There is an invisible confidence that appears when you no longer depend on external validation. You stop measuring your worth by applause. You stop comparing your path to someone else's. You stop chasing people who have already decided not to walk beside you. And something remarkable begins to happen. The energy you once spent chasing becomes energy you can invest in growing. You begin reading more, thinking more clearly, listening more carefully, working with greater purpose, loving without possession, giving without expectation, living without constant fear of losing. That is the quiet abundance the Stoics spoke about. Not an abundance of possessions, but an abundance of peace. Ironically, this is often the moment when opportunities begin appearing. Healthy relationships find you. Meaningful work feels more natural. People respect your calm confidence, not because you are trying to impress them, but because you finally stopped trying. Life has a curious way of rewarding those who are no longer desperate to force it. When your hands are no longer tightly closed around what has already gone, they become open enough to receive what is meant to arrive. Perhaps that is why letting go is never about losing. It is about creating space, and sometimes the space you create today becomes the place where tomorrow's greatest blessings quietly enter. Part 5. The greatest gift life gives is inner freedom. If there is one lesson that life teaches every wise person, it is this: everything you cling to will eventually ask you to suffer. Not because life is cruel, but because nothing in this world was ever meant to last forever. The seasons change. Children grow older. Dreams evolve. People come and go. Even the person you are today will not be the same 10 years from now. The question is not whether change will come. It always will. The real question is, will you resist it? Or will you grow with it? The Stoics never searched for a life without loss. They searched for a mind that could remain peaceful in the presence of loss, because they understood something extraordinary. You cannot stop life from taking things away, but you can stop allowing those losses to take away your peace. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they realize they have spent far too much time chasing what was never meant to complete them. Another achievement, another possession, another person's approval, another chance to rewrite yesterday. But peace has never lived in those places. Peace has always been waiting inside the person who finally says, "I have enough. I am enough. I no longer need to control everything to trust life." Those words are not spoken from weakness. They are spoken from freedom. Imagine carrying a tightly closed fist for years. Every muscle becomes tired. Every movement becomes difficult. Now imagine opening your hand. Nothing magical has happened. The world has not suddenly become easier, but you have. The burden is gone. The tension disappears. Your strength returns. That is exactly what letting go does to the human spirit. It gives back the energy that attachment has been stealing for years. Perhaps this is why life often seems to give more to those who ask for less. Not because the universe is rewarding them, but because they are finally able to recognize the blessings that were always there. The sunrise they once ignored. The laughter of people who truly love them. The quiet satisfaction of an honest day's work. The calm that comes from needing nothing more than this present moment. That is real abundance, not having everything, but discovering that your happiness no longer depends on everything. So let go of the resentment that keeps your heart heavy. Let go of the fear that keeps your future small. Let go of the need to control every outcome. And let go of the belief that your life begins only after everything goes according to plan. Because sometimes the greatest gift life will ever offer you arrives only after you have finally found the courage to release what was never meant to stay. And when you learn that quiet art of letting go, you don't lose your life, you discover it. Conclusion. The greatest paradox of life is that the more tightly we hold on, the more we suffer. But the moment we learn to let go, we create space for peace, wisdom, and unexpected blessings to enter. The Stoics never taught us to stop caring. They taught us to stop clinging. Because true freedom is not found in controlling life. It is found in trusting yourself enough to embrace whatever life brings. In the end, the richest person is not the one who owns the most. It is the one who needs the least. If there is one lesson to take away from today's video, let it be this. Ask yourself every morning, what am I holding on to that is stealing my peace? Let go of one resentment. Forgive one mistake. Stop chasing one person's approval. Spend that energy on becoming wiser, calmer, and more present. You don't have to transform your entire life overnight. Sometimes one quiet decision to release what no longer serves you is enough to change the direction of your future. Remember, life often gives its greatest gifts to those whose hands are open enough to receive them. If this message touched your heart and helped you see life through a new perspective, please subscribe to the channel and become part of this growing community of people seeking wisdom, inner peace, and lasting strength through Stoic philosophy. Your support inspires us to continue creating meaningful videos that encourage reflection, resilience, and personal growth. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.